Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I am barely awake.
What do
Colin's
you
been eating me
think?
alive.
What's been
Um,
what?
just of the what do I think about what specifically?
Um the refresher. Having the refresher, especially like between Destiny and Aaron.
Some of these I don't remember seeing, so I don't know if I just forgot them or
Destiny showed Destiny's the one that showed them in his manifesto video.
so these are from way back.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, it's just spooky in retrospect, to be honest with you, because it's like, what the hell? It's very weird behavior. Very
Yeah.
weird behavior.
Was there
The
anything? No, go ahead.
no, it's okay.
No, you go ahead. What were you going to say?
You mentioned that she's not as bad as Kyla, and this is weird for me because I like Straighterade as a person considerably more, but there's a reason for that that complicates my judgment of who's doing what in this whole situation because it's
Yeah.
like my issue with Kyla principally in all of this was not the defense of Destiny, which I expected. It was the setting up Pixie for a paper trail to make her easily construed as someone who's just after cash.
Mhm.
Like when you watch the conversations between them, Kyla very clearly takes what are ambiguous statements and guides Pixie into making them as explicit as possible,
Mhm.
while keeping her hands as clean as possible. And it's very obvious what she's doing. What I continue to be spooked by is that was actually at Straighterade's recommendation that money was sought in the first place.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting how
Yeah.
she, like, you
Or that
very
rather
clearly.
that a financial
Mhm.
offer was made in the first place. Yeah, that's because that's the impetus for Kyla taking part in this.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting how you very clearly had an issue with that concept to begin with. So it even still, like, it took a while for Straighter Aid until you directly asked her that she was the source of this. Like, she made it sound like Dan was the one that brought up money initially.
Well, here's I don't necessarily believe that's not the case either. But the difference is that Dan spoke to Pixie, presumably, based on whatever we know. I mean, it's Dan's a liar, so who fucking knows? But also, Dan spoke to Pixie. Straighterade spoke to Pixie and to Destiny and didn't inform Pixie of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when Pixie is like having that conversation with Kyla, where she's like, I don't think this is going to be an amount of money that will do anything whatsoever to penalize this guy. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why Destiny is confident to offer such a tiny amount, or to not indicate that he's offering a big amount, is specifically because Straight told Destiny that Pixie is broke and will accept the tiny amount. It's like,
Yeah, I think
dude,
it's interesting. She was talking
yeah.
to both Destiny and Pixie, but only Destiny knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from, like, was she saying, I forget if Pixie was asking Straighterade to be a go between at all, or if it was
Well,
just
it's
Kyla.
not even talking. Like, here's the thing too. It's not even just talking to Destiny and not to Pixie. She's also talking to me
Right.
and
And
then to Destiny and not to Pixie. So she's setting up multiple people to have just enough information to do potentially a lot of damage.
yeah.
Um, and it's like just I don't see a reason except that she enjoys it.
Felt very
I
gossipy.
it's weird. And like I don't know. The it really bugs me because I was telling Straight Raid for a very long time, as you just brought up, that like you got to be like really careful with any kind of deal involving money because if there is a situation in which you ask for money and there is a threat attached to that, it is going to be an uphill battle to argue that Destiny is criminally complicit for anything. It is less of one if the ball can get rolling on that against Pixie. And it's like the fact that when that was going on, she's simultaneously like doing more or less, as far as I'm concerned, everything in her power to set up a situation where Pixie walks into that as a trap is like, I just can't comprehend it. It's demented.
Well, I don't know.
It's just genuinely demented.
I don't know if it's like a trap, but more like kind of like maneuver her into going in the direction that she thought was best, which is to settle it behind the scenes, and then everyone can continue on, move on with their lives, including Destiny.
Yeah. The problem with with Kyla's involvement, though, is that Kyla very specifically solicited or managed to get an explicit statement, and she specifically said, to frame it this way, I thought you just wanted assurances that this would be fixed or whatever. Now you're saying you want money, and the reason why she's saying that is specifically to get a statement from Pixie doing that. Like that's the point.
Right.
That's the point. And the point is not that like, oh, that would 100% be successful, because God only knows. The point is that that's the mindset, and that's not like out there. It's like that's a thing that has happened in the past. So it's like, okay.
Wait, what is? Wait, what? You mean the happening?
I mean victims just due to the nature of the thing. Victims with sort of a clear record of correspondence have been charged over stuff like this, when what happened to them was by orders of magnitude worse. Because like the thing of it is like I don't think Pixie's out there hunting for money, but it all depends on how this is framed now to like a completely disinterested third party. And when you have the paper trail there and the record of these interactions completely denuded of everything involving the other people here, because you and I know what Kyla and Destiny are like.
Mm-hmm.
A judge doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, so it's I don't know. It's just it's all extremely sleazy in a way that I didn't. I never really anticipated at the time. Because like here's the thing, like it always struck me as weird that Straighterade and Lycan, despite the fact that they both agree that the guy they're working for is a genocide apologist and the guy he's working with are incompetent psychos. They all just were buddy with him and just really close, even to the point of living with him. And it's like that struck me as weird. I didn't anticipate from there that you would start sharing the financial vulnerability of your suicidal friend who's just had pornography of her shared by a psychotic billionaire or psychotic millionaire with the psychotic millionaire, and then pretend you didn't, and then just keep on talking with everybody else and just drip feeding them little bits of information to get them all like just making bad decisions.
Yeah. I think that this stuck with me, particularly a couple things that she had said, Aaron, that she said to you. this part where she says, no one can lose sympathy faster than her. Were you listeing when I read that? That was like very strange.
Like here's the thing. How I read this, because on a certain level, I thought at the time I agreed with her. Now I'm not so sure, given the benefit of hindsight and what I now know.
Yeah.
Pixie is not what I would call very politically savvy.
Yeah.
And is very likely to be led into a situation where she sabotages her own optics. Not that matters in a legal sense, but it's like with Ethan Klein's lawsuit. Like 99% of this is just freaking these people out in public and exerting public pressure so that they settle.
Yeah.
And I could very easily see Pixie in that situation, just because she's not that kind of person. It's not a matter of intelligence, it's not a matter of personality. It's just like there's a particular skill set which I lack, involved in framing yourself positively and effectively on social media, and she just doesn't have it. And when you take away like all of her support network and then turn that on her, which is what's happening here, because this is the community that she had embedded herself in, like, I mean, good luck.
Yeah.
Now, when she's talking about Keffel's poisoning the ability of people to fundraise, I think that's been proven wrong recently.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Besides that, like, I agree with the sentiment. Here's the thing, though. This is all like perfectly fine to put bluntly when you're in conversations with people who you have reason to presume are either on your side or not against you. So me in this case, I don't have it in for Pixie. I do have it in for Steven. Presumably, like under these circumstances, I'm a relatively safe person to talk to. Now you're having these conversations with Steven at the same time.
Yeah.
Steven, who knows all of this, who knows that Pixie is very vulnerable, very like not very publicly savvy. And now you're telling him, oh, and on top of all this, she's broke. So let's do the math here. She has no money. Her entire support base, her entire social network, it can be easily contorted to attack her. And she's also traumatized by the event itself. Yeah, nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
You can just toss her a few $100s, and maybe she'll haggle you up to a couple thousand, and then you can move on with your life. And if she tries to pull anything beyond that, you can go, well, hey, look at what you said here. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like just gross. Just gross, man. It's just really gross.
Yeah.
I don't and like at this time too, like people were talking about how she wanted to be in the orbit. She wasn't streaming. Straighterade was basically refusing to stream. I had been encouraging her for a very long time. Hey, you should stream. You should set up your own audience so you're not dependent upon Destiny for any sort of support or following. And she just wouldn't do it. And now all of a sudden she is. And I don't know why after all of this, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whatever the deal is, whatever the reason for the timing, I think she just needs to get this over with. Like, I appreciated her as a presence, and I think that's why this was like disappointing. Is like I had a different impression of her, and it wasn't that she would like this as vaguely. This just is completely devoid of like actual empathy.
Yeah, it's not even malicious. It's just completely indifferent.
Yes, and that is what freaks me out, honestly, a little bit.
Like with Kyla, I understand it. With Kyla is a cold psycho who is parasocially attached to Steven for two reasons. First of all, because her husband doesn't work, and second, because she thinks that that's her path to success, and it probably is at this point.
Yeah,
I understand like what she's doing it for. With Straighterade, it's like, oh, so you're just a pervert.
I mean,
you just get off on being in these people's proximity. Like that's.
Well, whatever it is, yeah. I mean, I think that definitely maybe she didn't think what Destiny did was that bad. I don't know what she actually thought, but it definitely was leading towards just like moving forward, getting to a business as usual like point of view. Yeah. She doesn't need Destiny at all. Maybe she just thought that she knew the best, that she thought she had a good enough handle of what was going on, judging at what she thought Pixie's suicidality was, or like how close to suicide she was, and what amount, like what would make Pixie want to live in the future with the law school, like all of these ideas that are just vibes. She doesn't actually know this is very Kyla coded. Just going based off vibes and not because based on any knowledge of how, you know, the kind of support that someone in this position with, especially with like suicidal predisposition,
Well,
what's
I
best
think
for
the
them.
assumption would be that she has like up close personal experience of Pixie's personality, so she thinks she knows Pixie. The problem is whether or not Pixie has a history of suicidal, you know, expressions of suicidality or whatever, or however long you spend time with her. This is a new event for anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you presume that you can predict the behavior of these people? And it's like, this is the part that bothers me the most. Nothing changes with respect to how all of this plays out. With with her telling Steven how poor Pixie is, except that now Pixie is offered a worse deal. She's now in a situation where there are now multiple pressures to try and negotiate and haggle, and the pressures that she has to exert to do that are all ones that endanger her by new ways. And all of this serves to give Steven an excuse and a rationalization to prolong this. And creates the conditions under which whatever like psychological harm this has done to her is now massively exaggerated. And it's not to treat Pixie like a child or whatever who has no agency or anything like that, but it's like that's actually kind of part of the problem, because Pixie does have agency. Pixie will do things to advocate for herself, and if she's doing so while being undermined by someone that she thinks she's in a relationship of trust with, she will self-destruct via having any personal strength or self-advocacy whatsoever. That's the perverse result of that. Whereas before then, it's like, it may literally have just gone down like this. Hey, what you did is fucked up. I'm going to need something serious to show that you actually regret this. Let me ballpark a few ideas of what that might look like. And then Steven would have to either choose to come to the table or risk the outcome, risk the alternative. And that would be that. Instead, it's, sure, let me know how I can help you with anything. Where there's sort of an implied offer of money, but the implication is that the offer is small. And then now you can talk to my intermediary, who can get you to commit to print statements that, I'm going to need X amount of money, or else this is going to be a public problem for you. Which, there's a way to do that, which is safe, and there's a way to do that which is not. And because of that dynamic, she was canalized into doing it in a way that it was not. And fortunately, like, that didn't proceed as it might have, but it could have. It could have, and you could have had the worst of both worlds just because of that. Because you would have had a Steven who's perfectly willing to wait it out because he knows he can.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the whole thing is just so fucked up.
It's just there's no upsides to it, and really, I think what it looked like was she was trying to get the Pixie stuff sorted away so Destiny could continue on. So the overall, like, nothing would have to change really. Like as far as like publicly, that's just what it seems like, because then he pays for her some of her non very good law school, pays for therapy.
Yeah, but
everyone's quiet.
He wasn't going to pay for law school though.
Well,
like let's be real here for a second, because here's what happens, right? So Pixie takes a test to see if she qualifies. Month goes by. Okay, if she qualifies, now she's invested in going to law school. So now she has a choice. Hey, I can pay for some of your law school or you can try losing all of your money in court, be distracted from law school, and I won't pay anything.
Yeah.
And so now she can be haggled down further. And here's the problem: without any haggling actually taking place, she's operating under a vague gesture at a promise that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of this sets her up to be screwed over.
Yeah.
In any, however it turns out, because even if at that point she decides, actually, no, I'm going public, he could, with the benefit of time, because he wasn't undermined by this all being like publicized. Not that there weren't problems with how he did it, but like, and how I did it, but like, because it's on his timetable, he can now assemble all the material he has, and he can make the first strike.
Yeah,
hey, look,
exactly.
I, a victim of revenge porn, am being like threatened with further embarrassment and exposure by this person who wants my money, clearly, and that's where it goes. Or she gets pennies.
Yeah.
And it's all of that is entirely because Straighterade, for no reason that makes any rational sense, behind the scenes to all of this, was going to Steven directly and saying, hey, she's broke. She can't even afford $100 payment on a couch, okay? You could literally just give her a frickin' Fortnite battle pass and she would fold. It's like come on. And that's why I don't think it's because she wanted to keep the orbit running. I think she was just like, it was tee-hee funny gossip for her. I think this was just, I think it was just flat out. I use this word a lot, but I think it was just perversion. I think there's a whole bunch of people who just get off from being sort of in the flow. It's sort of like gambling addiction.
Being in the
you go into like the
know.
machine mode and you're not aware of like anything around you. You're just playing to play. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whatever the case is, it seems like she was pretty sick of dealing with Pixie in whatever regard.
Well, there's no momentum or connections there. Pixie was largely trailing these other people, and like, if Straighterade was after money, she'd have streamed. She'd have been an orbiter, but she didn't. She just went along on the vacations when they went to like podcast events. She just hung around. Like there's no rational reason for any of this except for the enjoyment of the interaction itself. Like there's nothing else to point to.
Because I noticed some of the things she sent you, like tweets about like Destiny or whatever, just being like lol. You know what I mean?
Yeah, usually stuff I don't care about. And here's the thing too, because they're like lol.
Yeah.
They're probably being sent to like 5-10 other people.
Exactly.
So like one of the other spookier parts about this is like, at the end of that conversation, my conversation with her, I find out that who was it? It was like that Loner Box mod Wiz, Smugbug.
What about them?
And weaponized discourse, like all of these people. Well, she's sharing all this information with them as well, including the private conversation with Kyla.
Smug and Wiz.
Yeah, and Olive, yeah, and it's like
interesting.
Yeah, and it's like
way more people than I even thought. I didn't even.
Well, those are the ones.
Even think that.
Well, here's the thing: those are the ones I know about. I don't know if they know about anybody else. And it's like, how possible is it? Because like when we think about like the way these people act, Nick DeOrio knew full well about the Pixie case.
Yeah.
When he was telling people on stream that, hey, I looked into the Melina case, and actually, she's not talking about the Destiny leaks at all when she's saying they were done with no consent. She was talking about this thing with Leafy 2 years ago. Like, like, how many people would hear this and learn all of this and just say nothing and just go tee-hee back? Like,
wait, so
it's yeah.
Are you sure that Wiz and Smug knew?
Yeah, I mean, she told me. They're in my DMs with her.
Wait, what did they say exactly in chat?
I asked specifically who knew about the Pixie Kyla interaction.
Wait, any mods?
And the reason why
can any mods find the chats from before?
Well, the reason why the reason why I asked is because, like, and the reason why the conversation with Straighter went the way it did at the end is because I found out from Nick DeOrio, who I was going to show the Kyla Pixie conversation to, that he already had it. And then I found out from there that Chud already had it. And it's like, okay. And then I found out that Tom already had it. So it's like, okay, hang on.
Tom?
I was under the false impression that this was being treated with sensitivity. Who doesn't have this right now? And it turned out that it was shared with like 3 other people. So it's like,
It was the Kyla DMs? Is that what it was?
the Kyla Pixie DMs, the ones where they get the explicit statement wanting money, right? And it's like, okay, so you led me to believe that this was like sensitive and didn't inform me that this was being shared with other people. Like my DMs with her were probably shared with other people. How many other people are you not telling me about potentially? It's like, dude.
Wait. Hold on, I'm DMing Liz right now.
Oh my god.
He found everything out via Kiwi Farms. Wait, but she said specifically that she sent it to them.
Yeah. I mean, I probably still have them. Hang on. Hang on. Oh yeah, here we go. I got it right here.
You send it or show it or something? Or read it?
Yeah, I got it. I'll just send you the one moment. I'm gonna DM it to you. Here you go.
Okay, let's see.
It might be a tad blurry. I'm terrible at this.
It's all good. Wait, why can I not? Copy link, okay. I'm using Edge right now and it fucking sucks. Chrome would open.
Why do you hate yourself for using Edge?
No, Chrome is just not opening. I don't know. I guess I have to uninstall and reinstall.
Oh, weird.
Okay. So let's see. This is January 16th again. Straighterade asked Sunday, did you show it to anyone, even over a screen share or call? Sunday says, nope, not a soul. Straighterade says, I have no clue then. It's contained to you, Smug, Wiz, and Olive. President Sunday says, wait, Smug now too? So you shared it with 4 people and you're sure it's contained? You didn't seem to have the DMs between Pixie and Destiny. Yes, Smug is in the chat I shared it with. I totally spaced. Yes. Okay. Interesting.
The moral of the story is never trust anyone on YouTube who's not in it for money because, oh my god.
This is, yeah, so I guess, I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, it's disappointing about Erin overall, but yeah, I just think it feels very awkward and uncomfortable that she's like around and no one, like, she was on JStalk and,
oh yeah, but let's be clear for a second, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like on both sides here, okay? It took until JStalk had a direct personal acquaintance being affected for him to care.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. I mean, like,
no, but what I'm saying though is like, this shouldn't really surprise anyone. Nobody is offended by this. This is people do not care. DeOrio obviously doesn't care. they're currently laundering the DGG relationship through the H3 stuff. They all are. Just indirectly with Dan instead of with Destiny.
Dan.
Like nobody cares. Every single person who came out loudly against us, I think with the sole exception of Queeman, and I actually can't think of anybody else, either had to be personally invested to give a shit, or they pretended to in order to make sure that they were safe when the bomb went off, and now they're all coming back to resettle.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah.
I say this more because not because like she shouldn't be around, but because since she is around, when I say like hanging out on JStalk, hanging out with people on streams in general, you know what I mean? So it's like when she was on the other day and they started talking about Destiny being a rapist, and she just silently left like the call. That was it. Like she was just there and then she was gone. So it's just very awkward. Yeah. She was there, active. She was engaging, and then it went into the. No, it's just very awkward and very weird, and it's gonna have to get addressed at some point. So I figured I would just, re-explore this a little here, and I don't know if people had conversations behind the scenes or something, but I don't like those.
I think by the same token, like the reason why like this one bothers me significantly is because I have more regard for Aaron than I do for someone like Kyla. So she knows, I expect her to know better to a different degree than Kyla does, because I barely regard Kyla as sentient. So it's like, I wouldn't want to hold it against her to the extent that this now becomes like a weird thing where you just like hound the person about it whenever she comes up. I don't think she was malicious. I think she was potentially like catastrophically harmful. But in fact, I think arguably that's more or less established at this point, because everything that's proceeded has been proceeding under the assumption that Pixie had no money. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, like the problem with the space the way it is now is that too many people have big scandals, and too many people have shown that they are willing to stick with someone who does vile things because they like the vibes, and we've crossed the threshold where reputation no longer really matters. So I just wouldn't waste a significant amount of energy like trying to hold people accountable anymore, simply because we're in a culture where that is simply not possible.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think something just needs to happen. I think things just need to happen on the record to some degree, and then we can move on. No,
I've liked your coverage. I've been watching it, obviously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I hop into JStalk on occasion. It would just be like, like I whenever this is just across the board me, when there's something going on that isn't being addressed, I have to be the person. I can't just let it sit. So, would Sunday talk to Straighterade on stream?
I mean, sure. I'd rather talk in private, but sure.
I mean, I feel like that wouldn't happen.
No, that wouldn't happen, and it wouldn't stay private. So that's not really an option. But like, do I have a desire to talk to this person on stream? No.
Yeah.
Like, would I if I was asked to? Sure, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, it's like not really. I think really what she needs to do is just say something, just something.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice, but at the same time, like, here's what
someone has to say something, because it just feels very weird.
But here's what saying something means. Like, hey guys, I'm back after I played double agent for my suicidal friend who had porn shared of her by a psychopath and told him that she was broke so he could screw her further. Like that. Get ready for the content. Like that's that's all there is for her to say.
I mean, it
Like,
does. She doesn't even have like You know what? I feel like someone needs to say it to her, and then she can just react however she wants, including dodging. It just has to be said to her. I think. I haven't seen anyone say anything to her at all, and I imagine there's probably some kind of conversation that took place behind the scenes, but I don't like those when it's public interest. So
she's not a major player. She never will be. It's just not important. Like,
I mean, I think it's important for like the for the record, for the space, for the paper trail, for the lore. I'm not trying to make her not around.
I don't have a problem with that. I just don't think, like, here's what happens. So somebody challenges her on it or mentions it just on stream, and something happens, she responds, or she sheepishly leaves the call or whatever, and then life moves on.
Yep.
And nobody cares.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
that's
saying,
exactly
like, at the same time,
that's exactly what I want to happen.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think it's reasonable. I just think it's just so fucking weird that like she.
Well, why don't you do it? Going to JStock.
I mean, yeah, I might. If next time I see her on JStock, I might just pop in, and ask. So yeah, because usually the reason why I want to do this is so that people know where we're at. Because when you see someone have some kind of do something fucked up, and people are like, whoa, that was not good, and then you see everyone cool and hanging out and not talking about it, you assume, okay, it must have been worked out, everything's fine.
I mean, for me personally, like, that is so low on my list of priorities as far as people doing that. I'm astonished that people are watching Nick DeOrio after he spent months posturing about how he cares about the victims. Now all of a sudden using H3 to like get cozy again with DGG. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not directed at Nick DeOrio. That's directed at his audience. Fuck you.
No, that's also
genuinely.
There's directed as Nick DeOrio.
No, I don't. Nick DeOrio's not a person. Can't be mad at him.
Fine.
He's an Oreo. He's an Oreo.
Did you see him talk to Dan?
No, I don't care to.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Like, what do they talk about? Neither of them know anything. They're both insane. Like,
yeah.
Like, what do they talk? Nick's commentary amounts to, "Isn't that autistic?" just over and over again. And Dan is, I don't think Dan knows what planet he's on.
Yeah. I think he thinks he runs the planet, though. Like, I think he thinks he's the boss. Like, he can just. Like,
yeah, no, he paid his. Yeah. He paid his way into getting into the Destiny studio, and now he pretends he's a string puller, but he has literally no actual influence or control.
Yeah.
He just kind of he's like if Destiny had a really low functioning Brooks. But like really low functioning, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I mean, Dan, oh my god, he said that he wants, you know how there's like Ethan Hassan Destiny?
Yeah.
He wants to be the other D. He wants it to be dead. Dan, Ethan Hassan Destiny. And it's like, bitch, you are never getting a letter in this. Insane.
What?
Yes. How deranged. No one cares about Dan Saltman, okay? No one.
Like, unfortunately, Dan literally is just what Kyla's career would be if she didn't have the misfortune to be born a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah, bluntly. I think it's the exact same trajectory. I think she ended up going to post-secondary and he ended up flipping houses, and that's it.
That's very interesting.
Because they do the exact same thing. It's the same shit. They have no actual organic following of their own, but they're desperately trying to LARP as if they are big players by taking out a minuscule scoop of Destiny's viewership and being people who appear every so often, and they imagine themselves as being like the frickin' vizier from Aladdin. Just calling the shots from behind the scenes, but they don't realize that they're pets.
I mean,
Not even,
yeah.
not even really pets. They're more like pinatas, but
Pinatas or like just like mice that he lets live in the walls.
it's like you know those giant dildos that Moist Critical has? It's like just in his background. They're like,
I don't recall them.
you would recall them if you saw them. They are comically large.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like those. They even kind of look the same if you squint.
What, like people? Baldos?
Well, I mean, not like people, but like, you know, like Kyla and Dan.
I just realized that if not you or Sunday confront her in private or live, there's no one to do it, since all the other people in the space were previous Destiny orbiters that even if they disavowed Destiny, they knew about his behavior before the leak most likely, so they would want to avoid it and just at best only attack Destiny.
Oh, it'll never happen. And because like we've had this conversation, she'll know to leave a call as soon as you enter. So like,
I mean,
I don't think it'll
that
ever,
would be.
I don't think it'll
See,
ever happen. Yeah.
listen, people fleeing me never works out. You know, like I don't know. I don't know if anyone's noticed by now, but when someone runs, I will chase you.
You say that, but I am rather famous for running, and yet there has not been a wet face of Sunday.
That's because you're my friend. I will never make a wet face
you will
Sunday.
You'll know when shit hits the fan when there's a wet face of Sunday.
Well,
that's
a
sign of the apocalypse.
You would have to have raped. I would say yeah, you'd have to have raped. Wiz said, I think Sunday's on the money with this one. Like I said at the start of stream, it was all Smug's fault. Okay, Wiz, all Smug's fault. Where's Smug? Smug needs to be able to answer for himself.
Honestly, I don't think he needs to answer for anything. He's just a dipshit. But I don't think Smug did anything wrong. Like, did Smug leak it to somebody?
No.
I don't.
Nope. Hey, Backa. I actually like Dan, but he acts like he was in PayPal Mafia about his tech background. Motherfucker, you founded a grooming site for groomers. I don't know who likes Dan at this point. Like, I enjoy Dan as like a small character in the Orbiter universe.
Dan has an amicable manner that is not matched by any of his actions, but he is likable. Just as a guy who is there until you pay attention to any of the stuff that he does or says. But
yeah, no, I'm disgusted by the sight of his face at this point.
But hey, Stardust likes him.